Hi guys.
So it's already 4:06 p.m. I think we can start while people join. I'm not audible.
You are
You're
audible.
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 Yes, you are audible.
Oh, thanks a lot. So yeah, so we at Frappe decided that we wanted to have a series of webinars and take a closer step to learn more about the community that we already have and expand our reach to increase the brand awareness, as well take time to understand what our audience faces. Thanks everybody to confirm that you can hear me. It just states that the instructions that I gave to my internet service provider worked. So cool. So we will have the next set of webinars focused on FOSS solutions and how they are being implemented, starting with our flagship product, ERP Next. We have today our expert from Frappe, who is a functional wizard, and his unnerving knowledge on the subject is very helpful, and he's quite a resource for all of us at Frappe as well as for the entire ERP Next community. I'm sure most of you already know him. It's Umair. So today he'll just give us more insight about the latest version that is there, version 13 beta, and tell us how it can be used for making more informed decisions around data. Because I know we have had dashboards and configurable reports and everything, but this version brings us a step closer to it brings us a step closer to making more data driven decisions and insights within a couple of minutes. So I guess we are good to start, Umer. Let's get started. And yeah, another request that I had for all the participants, that if throughout the presentation, if you have any doubts, any queries, any questions, please post them on the chat, and we'll have an open house towards the end of the session, the last 15-20 minutes, where we'll just go through the questions and answer them. Okay, thanks. I request everybody's cooperation, and Omer, you can get started.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the introduction, Zai. Let me know if my screen is visible.
Works.
Perfect. It's working.
Okay, so thanks everyone for joining to this webinar, wherein we'll be talking about version 13 of ERP Next. And as always, each version of ERP Next is heavily loaded. And version 13 is not just one webinar, it deserves probably a whole day, like a conference we do typically. And it's that feature rich, right? So we'll be walking through some of the core features which we have introduced over last few months, and still improvising on with some of our beta users. So getting started, we have module-wise dashboard plus number cards. So dashboard is something which we introduced in version 12 only, wherein we introduced the possibility of making the charts like bar charts and pie charts and bar diagram, line diagram, all by yourself. What was missing is actually when new users signed up, there were no bootstrap dashboards. So in this version, for most of the core modules like CRM, selling, accounting, manufacturing, we have added and bootstrapped some of the dashboards. So this is the dashboard which will be populated all by itself when you sign up to ERP Next version 13, or when your account is upgraded to ERP Next version 13. This is for CRM. This is for manufacturing. There is one more for HR and everything, right? So for all core modules like healthcare, we have a dashboard now. And if you notice, basically in this version, apart from this dashboard, we also have a number card. You can see new leads, new opportunity, and win opportunities and everything, right? How it is being generated, just like we have a configurable dashboard, now we have a new feature called number card. Just allow me to showcase this in one of my test accounts. If you can see my screen, this is I'm logged into one of my test accounts, wherein I see this human resource, right, which I'm able to navigate from here. So there has been some changes in the desk as well, right? Like we have moved the icon to the left, and this dash is highly customizable. If you want to move stuff from here and there, you can just drag and drop. So this is very flexible. You want to add a new dashboard right here, you can do that very much. Uh, and right here, let's say for HR module, we have this dashboard, right? I want to add one more custom card, number card. How do I do that? So let's say in the human resource module, I have some attendance records already, right? A bunch of records are there. I want to show this number, and let's say I want to only show the present counties on the dashboard. So what I would do, I would go to a new feature called number card, right? In here, I'll go say I want to make a new number card, and I want to call it say man days, for example, and I want to link it with my attendance doc type. It based on count. I want to keep interval as say daily. I'm adding a filter. Okay, so let's say I set the filter, and I can also choose a color. Okay, that's not mandatory, but you can choose some color, right, like this or something like this. Okay, and I save it now. Now, how do I see it? The number card which I have made, where do I see the count? So that's a part of dashboard. I'll just go to dashboards list, and I'll go to human resource list, right? So here, basically all the dashboard which we are seeing, right, like the attendance count, gender diversity ratio, designation wise, department wise, employee count, that's coming based because we have added this dashboard charts in the system. Right here now we have this option to link your cards, number cards, right? So the new card which I have made for Mondays, I'll link it here and save it. And now if I go to dashboard and do a quick reload, let's hope it will show me the new number card, wherein it will show me that total Mondays is 40. Means all the attendance which you have marked till now, the total presentees are 40 till date. Right. So this way, you can easily configure number cards and link it with your dashboard. And I presume you already know how to basically, add the dashboard charts and everything. That's something which you already had in version 12 as well. So that works just the same way. It has become more feature rich. So you will find more options there. And of course, when you log in now, ERP Next is very overwhelming, right? I mean, be it any ERP, there are many configurations to be done when you sign up. So when new user signed up, he basically didn't get a direction as to which all configuration has to be done. And once they do that configuration, they'll be allowed to make transactions. To simplify that use case, we have added this thing called onboarding chart. So when you, let's say you want to set up accounting, we suggest you complete this task, which will also basically guide you. It will directly take you to the link. At some places, it will take you to the transactions, right? So it's very handy, and it will also guide you. So I'll just go back to my presentation. So yeah, that was about number cards. So we have new module onboarding. As I said, each module has a onboarding chart on top that will guide what all configuration you need to complete in order to make most of your transaction. And then it also guides you that, okay, you have completed that configuration. Now let's move to next configuration. And where there are more complexity in terms of configuration, then we also have something called the tools. Right. So let's say I am on stock module and I need to explore my stock setting. But in the stock setting, there are multiple settings. Item naming means something else. Warehouse means something else. Valuation method means something else. And each has its different meaning, right? So this kind of tool highlights one field at a time, gives you description, allows you to set value in that field and move to next, right? So this becomes very easy navigation option for a new user who has just ventured into ERP Next and exploring what all configuration options are there. So that is something again which we have added to simplify the onboarding for new users. Moving next, now when we talk about all these options, all the configuration options, there are more to it. You can set up your all new desk page all by yourself without any support. I'll basically show you how do we do that. But since ERPNX is a framework, right? It's not just a set of forms. It allows you to do lots of configuration, which otherwise would require lots of customization in other software. Using these various components, Frappe offers out of the box, and we can put them together, and we can have unlimited ticketing queues being set up. I can make a new doc type. I can link that doc type with the SLA rule, with the service level agreement. So now I can apply the service level agreement on any custom doc type or any doc type for that matter. I had an email account feature earlier, which I could link only with the opportunities or support. But now in this version, I can link any document which has a subject and email ID field. I can link that with email account, and that document can be made automatically on the receipt of email. I had we had an assignment rule always working. Now we have the functionality of dashboard, which gives you the analytics and MIS reporting. So combining all these features, this is something which we have basically set up for one of our customers. So let me take you back to my test account and do something very fancy. Let's say I have a new doc. I have a doc type called IT support. This is my internal IT support queue, wherein my employees can report their IT related issues to my DevOps, for example. Now let's say I have a big company and I have lots of issues coming also from which are related to say logistics. So what I'll do, I'll make a new doc type for logistics, for example, logistics queue. I'll name it this way. Says part of support module, or most of the field I'll just keep it same. What I have done is basically in this doc type or in the earlier doc type, I have added some of the fields which is very relevant to service level agreement. And this field, service level agreement, is a link field. So I can link it with my service level agreement, and it will basically then measure what is your first response SLA, what is your resolution SLA, and if you are meeting that or not meeting. So you will also get the analysis based on that. So there are set of fields which is also only related to SLA, and the others are related to my ticketing system itself. Okay, this is a validation that I cannot use the same. So I'll rename it to say logistics naming series. Okay, now that we have created this doc type in the support module, so of course, if I go to support module, this document shows up, logistics queue, right? So it's a custom doc type on top of which you can apply the SLA and make the assignment rule and have unlimited ticketing queues being set up in ERPNX as per your requirement, and also have your custom labeling on the left side and create a custom desk page as per your requirement. So moving on, in version 13, big enhancement which we have done is event streaming. What it means. So let's say I have one subsidiary in India wherein I'm using ERPNX, and let's say I have another subsidiary in say UAE wherein I have another legal entity, and there also I'm using separate instance of ERPNX. And what I need to do is, if someone makes a purchase order in my UAE company, in that system, it should automatically fetch that purchase order into my ERPNX database of India, and my purchase order should be automatically pulled in there. So there is one side which is basically a producer. There is another side which is a subscriber, and these both two ERPNX side is able to communicate with each other with the help of event streaming feature, right? So that's what event streaming allows you to do. It basically adds like a middleware wherein you can push your transactions and define which ERPNX instance it should go to. and based on the verification and everything, then it correctly lands that transaction into another ERPNext account altogether. So that's basically makes it very feature rich, and for the kind of companies which has which are conglomerates for that. Yeah. So and then we have introduced a feature called immutable ledger. So earlier, what used to happen is, let's say if I'm the today's date is say 15th July, but if I want to go back and make any transaction on say 1st of June, wherein I already have some transaction in the made in the month of June and July already, system allowed that. And what it would do later on is basically it would do complete reposting of all the transaction made in the month of June and July, right? Though it gives lots of flexibility for the user to go back, but it had its own challenges. It has the challenges of reposting. If let's say in the month of July, if I'm making posting in the month of April, the scale of reposting would be so huge that it would impact your system's performance, right? And your system might hang at times and become unresponsive. So the very heavy reposting was one thing, and the process is also very lengthy. Let's say if I make a one backdated transaction of 2-month-old, reposting all the transactions is and touching them and correcting values is also very risky, right? Correcting valuation rate and everything becomes very risky, because if system breaks in between, then you have a mismatch between your stock valuation, which is being shown in the stock report, and then you have a stock valuation which is being shown in the accounting report. So we received many such issues, which was due to reposting, and that was the root cause. So how we are trying to basically resolve it is basically we're bringing in this control that, let's say you will be allowed to make backdated transactions, provided there are no transaction made beyond that date. So if let's say I want to make a transaction on say 1st of July, but beyond 1st of July, between 1st of July till today, if there are no other stock transactions, I will be allowed to make a posting on 1st of July, right? So that is something which, and we are also basically doing this on item level in purchase receipt. Let's say if you have multiple items, and if you have made backdated, you are making backdated transaction, but only there is one item wherein you have already made some transaction in in a date beyond that, then it will show you validation for that. So you can maybe just remove that item and make backdated entry for rest of the item, wherein there is no any feature posting or reposting requirement. So, and this is also like, which is pretty standard. It brings in discipline in the system. Though it's restrictive, but it's very important and still worthy. And then there is also basically one thing. Basically, there is stock posting and accounts posting, right? So though you might have to do the posting of previous date into today's date. Let's say there's this restriction. We suggest you do that, because eventually the closing at month end would be just the same. And then we are trying to basically bring in the control of giving you provision to set the accounts posting backdated. So I can make transaction in today's date, but the impact of that today's entry on the accounting would be of some backdated. So on the accounting side, there is no challenge of reposting, so we can afford to do that, and we are trying to bring in that enhancement, and we are working on it. So that the MI side will still be, will allow you to do backdated posting as far as accounting is concerned. So then we have introduced a feature of perpetual accounting for services. So we always had a perpetual accounting for the stock transaction, which meant that when you purchase item, it remains in your stock. Its expense is booked when you consume it or when you deliver that item to the customer, right? We are bringing same functionality on the services side as well. So let's suppose there is a purchase order which I have made for availing say 100 hours of services from my supplier. Okay, and the payment term says that okay, there will be quarterly payment being made to the supplier, but it's not necessary that I'll be availing or consuming those 100 hours evenly on a quarterly basis. It's possible that I might consume out of 100, I might consume or avail say 50 hours of services in first month only, and say another 25 hours of service in second month, right? So though there is a validity of say 1 year, and there are quarterly payment terms, but the the way I consume service or avail service of the supplier, it could be uneven. In that case, what will happen is basically if you enable this feature. So firstly, this feature is configurable from company settings, and based on this feature, when I make purchase receipt, and when I say that okay, out of 100 hours of services which I agreed with my supplier, when I get 50 hours of service, I'll make a purchase receipt for 50 hours, and at that point, the expense will be booked for 50 hours, right? So that will be the kind of posting which you can see on your screen. When you make a purchase receipt, expense posting would be done, expense account would be debited against service received but not billed, which is just like our stock received but not billed account. So I hope I was able to explain the purpose of this functionality. So moving on, canceling downstream transactions. So let's suppose you made a sales order. Against that sales order, you made a delivery note. Against delivery note, you made a sales invoice. Against sales order, you also made a material request, right? But what happens is if you have to make any changes in sales order or in delivery note, you would have to first cancel sales invoice, then come back to delivery note, cancel it, come back to sales order and cancel. And then also before that, cancel material request and come back to sales order eventually. So there are multiple canceling which is required. What we have done now is basically, let's say I'm on sales order, and against this sales order, I have already made an invoice, right? If you can see, and against the sales invoice, the payment is also done because sales invoice, it shows it's paid, right? Now the sales order cancellation should not be allowed because there is already sales invoice linked to it, right? So when I come back to sales invoice and sales order, I try and click on cancel. It asks me that if there is a sales invoice linked to it, do you want to cancel all the linked transaction? I click on cancel all. It has basically canceled the sales invoice which was linked to that sales order, and it has already cancelled sales order itself as well, which I can right away go ahead and amend. So downstream cancellation has been simplified. Okay, so moving on. There has been an introduction of a whole new module, loan management. So earlier we basically had a provision for loan management only for our internal customers like employees, and the provision was only for the term loan, right? There was no provision for demand loan. Now what we have introduced is basically just like we avail loan from bank against security, you can have an applicant who is an outsider who can pledge the security in which can be gold or house or any other precious metal, which can have its value varying from time to time, like gold values changes from time to time, right? So against that, you can give a loan to an applicant. You can track the schedule. You can track the repayment. You can also track if there is, since the rate of security which you have pledged, the gold, for example, is variable, is changing, and if overall security which is pledged is like there is a shortfall compared to what is required to be maintained, then it will also give you alerts, and more security can be pledged by the applicant, and then you have the loan accrual, loan interest accrual. So it's a complete loan management application which even an finance institution and company can implement. It's being implemented and used by one of such companies already, which I hope would be presented in one of the future webinars. So that's been designed and in production already. The healthcare module was always there, right? But the way it has been improvised and rewritten, you can consider it to be a whole new module itself. And we have done it with end users. We have tied up with the government hospitals and private, physiotherapists and all. And with their consultation, we have basically improvised our healthcare module. So now you can manage patients, doctor, and service unit. Patient appointment was already there, but the UI has been much improved. You have consultation history, and the healthcare module is now very tightly linked with accounting. So if someone takes or avails the healthcare services, and based on different services they are availing, like lab test, the inpatient module has been introduced. So So over the set of period, different services which has been availed by the patient in the hospital, you can do an invoicing for all of that at once, right? So that is a huge improvement which is being brought in. You have lab reports and you have bootstrap dashboards. So this is one of the huge improvement in healthcare module, and again in production and done in consultation with end users. We have refactored POS. So POS had its own challenges. It couldn't basically have the provision for your coupons and pricing rule and stuff. And each invoice which you basically made was synced as a single sales invoice in the backend, right? But what we learned from the end users is they don't consider each POS invoice as a sales invoice. They consider it as a POS ticket sort of. And at the day end, let's say there are say 150 POS tickets or POS invoices made. You make a 150 POS invoices, for example, right? So that feature has been introduced. The UI has been much improved. So you have all the items on the left, and when you select the item or click on the item, it gives you a good preview of that with image. And you have your sales invoice list on the right side, which shows you all the items which is already added or chosen by the customer. And then you have calculators and other functionalities on the right bottom. Right, so the UI has been also much improvised and again done with the end user. So I think that is also one thing about this version of overall version 13, that we have worked very closely with the end users, taken their feedback, and accordingly improvised UIs and user experience in ERP. So while we have many new features, the onboarding and user experience has been given a lots of weightage and consideration in designing and even improvising existing set of functionality. Production forecast was one of the highly demanded features since a very long time, and now that it has happened Frappe way. So now you can do forecasting based on exponential smoothing method. With graphical presentation. It will take into account your historical data and based on the exponential smoothing method, will suggest you what should be what is your forecast, and will help you make an informed decision as to how much raw material you want to purchase at what time, at what rate, and what demand is going to be like, right? So improvement in the manufacturing module, and many new reports has been introduced in the manufacturing module. As I said, basically probably we need a dedicated conference or a whole day just to talk about new feature which we have introduced. So this is a just a quick list. Now you can make a social media post right from your ERPNext account. We have done the integration with Twitter and LinkedIn. We have so payroll module was earlier part of HR module. We have separated it out because it's a mammoth of a module in itself, right? It has lots of complexity and different components, so it's a lot more cleaner in as a separate module. Then payroll based on attendance has been introduced in the framework. Basically, just like we can add custom fields, right? There was no provision if you want to make certain field mandatory based on a condition. Let's say I'm making a sales order, wherein I can make sales order of type sales and shopping cart. But if I select order type as shopping cart, then certain fields should become mandatory. Now that's something conditional mandatory can be handled right from the framework, and you can do it with simple configuration in customized form. We have a BOM template being introduced. We have a journal voucher being introduced. So if you are making one kind of posting in JV again and again, you can have a template ready for it. Go to journal voucher, select that template, just put the amount, and you're good to go. So now you can make BOMs and JVs much more efficiently and much more faster. And of course, for GST reports in India, we have added many new reports. Many new features has been added. So we have been making release notes, very comprehensive release notes, and posting it on discuss.erpnext.com. And there is a particular tag called release notes. So if you want to track which all changes has been introduced in each version, you can track it actively. Have it pushed on your test instance and use it. Give us feedback. Help us make it better. So open source spirit, right? Do it collaboratively. So that's all about version 13, which is work in progress. We are adding many new features. UI cleanup has been done. It's been our focus. And there's a lot more UI cleanup coming your way to surprise you. Be ready for that. And as I said, we are doing beta release each month. So do check it out and try at your end and give us feedback so we can keep on improvising it. Version 13 is already available on erpnix.com. If you sign up for a trial account, version 13 is what you get. So we have host of new customers already enjoying version 13 and helping us making it better. I hope all of you guys are aware about Frappe Cloud as a service, which we have recently ventured into. Frappe Cloud allows you to string up a new ERPNX account or any other Frappe application right from UI with few clicks, right? You don't have to touch your control panel or nothing like that. Just sign up on frappecloud.com, choose a plan, choose Frappe and ERPNX and application, and you have a ERPNX site working, as a dedicated, you have a dedicated hosting, for your ERPNX instance, wherein you have control as to what domain you want to set, which email account you want to configure, how do you want to back up your ERPNX instance, what has been the consumption on the server side like, right? And it's also like pay as you go, right? So there are very affordable plans for Frappe Cloud hosting. So do check it out. And we have seen many customers who are hosting earlier on DigitalOcean or Amazon have migrated their ERPNX instance to Frappe Cloud. So there is also provision to backup database backup of your say DO site or Amazon site, AWS site. When you're creating new site on Frappe Cloud, you can also restore the backup right then. So that's been tried and tested, and we have many new many customers who are self-hosting migrated to Frappe Cloud. So don't miss it. It's and version 13 is available on Frappe Cloud. Time for Q&A. So I think Zai is going to drive that. If you have any queries, feel free to post it in chat, and we'll be happy to take it one by one. Hope you'll understand. We are I think close to 200 people on this call. So allowing to unmute would be, and muting would be a bit of a hassle. So let's do it this way. Look forward to your cooperation. Share your feedback, appreciation or criticism or questions on chat.
Umar, we have a good question here from Jillian about the downstream cancellation. They're just asking whether it's an option because there are sometimes higher permission authorities required to cancel payment entries and invoices. So everything being cancelled right away would affect it. So can you just elaborate on that?
So only if you have a permission on cancellation of the sales invoice and delivery note, you'll be able to cancel it via sales order. So the UI is what has been simplified. It won't skip or overrule the role permission. If there is anyone from Frappe team who want to take up any technical question, or you have better understanding, or if I'm going somewhere wrong, please feel free to unmute, especially Nabeen and Shivam. So your input will be thanks for the appreciation. So I hope that answers the question. Can we move to next one?
Of course. There is also another question where Hendy is asking whether we can upgrade V13 beta versions using Kubernetes Helm chart.
I wish I could answer that. Anyone from Frappe team want to take it?
So the images are built with every release, and there is helm.erpnx.com for all the instructions. So you can access it and get yourself updated. But regardless if there is any problem, you can just go to discuss.erpnx.com and tag Chinmay or Revant, and we'll help you right there.
Great.
So, thanks, Shivam.
Then there is a question. I think Umair or Nabeen can. I don't know who will be the better person to answer it. That when is the final version 13 going to be released? So.
So we are estimating, I think, 2 to 3 months because there are some changes and improvisation still happening in the backend. Considering that and all the improvisation and feedback which are still getting from on the existing user, we are estimating that time.
Okay. I think another good question is from Jillian again. Thank you. Is the payment amount field on invoices enabled when checking the checkbox POS? I think they're trying to understand whether we can control POS payment amount from the list
I
view.
think that feature was always there. I mean,
Yeah.
if your invoice amount is 1,000 and the customer is only making 800, you could change the amount which was there already. So of course, all the previous functionalities would be there by default.
Okay, thank you, Umar. One more question was from Altya. How do we easily calculate days between events? For example, the day of quotation received to date of quotation sent. I think that should be with the custom script, right? I mean, or is it with respect to events streaming particularly?
Yeah, I think if you want to calculate inside the quotation, then maybe you have to just fetch the days of the uh, whichever date you want from previous document, and then you have to write a small custom script to calculate the days. Maybe I don't know if I answered the question correctly.
Maybe Aditya, you can confirm that. Thank you, Naveen. And yeah, guys, a lot of you are asking for the slides and the recording. Yes, we will definitely share it with all the participants. Thank you so much for joining us again. Browsing through, I can see few more questions related to, okay, there is another one where they are asking whether we can integrate ERP Next with handheld POS devices from Ramkrishnan.
So I think that's answered by the framework itself, right? Since it has a responsive UI, probably with a tag on kind of device, you'll be able to efficiently use a POS, and that I think also has been considered by the POS developer who has developed and improvised this application.
Okay, thanks, Umar. So there is another question if there is any plan to launch mobile app for POS with offline data. Interesting one.
So there are mobile apps in works, and right now the key focus is to get all the doc types etc. working, because a lot of people require it. Let's say people working on leads and support etc. So there is work in progress on that, and soon we'll be putting out roadmaps and release notes on GitHub as well and discuss.
Thank you, Shivam. Yeah, I think, Umar, a lot of people are asking about event streaming. Can you just explain it once again very quickly?
Okay, I explained it with an example, and I don't have a better example.
Yeah.
So I'll probably repeat myself, but if there is some specific question, I think that would be better. We could take that question and one of our developers can take it up.
No, they are just
If
more
Rucha is there,
interested
Rucha,
to
please feel free to
learn
come in.
more. Yeah. So there are questions like what cases is it used in, and exactly what does it do? So I think a lot of
Yeah. So I explained it. That's the very reason I explained it with a use case. There is a company in say Kenya, and there is another company in Nigeria, for example. And Kenyan company is a parent company, Nigerian company is a subsidiary. So what happens is basically, let's say all the purchase order made by the Nigerian company is not directly processed. They send it to the Kenyan company. Earlier they were sending it separately. They would send an email to Kenyan company, then Kenyan company would manually punch in that same purchase order received from the Nigerian company, for example. What event streaming allows you to set up an streamer which would automatically pick up new purchase order being made in the ERPNext instance of Nigerian company and push it automatically to the ERPNext instance of the Kenyan company, right? So that kind of automate flow of transaction from one ERPNext instance to another ERPNext.
So yeah, basically the syncing of data between two Frappe sites. So it can be any type of data. You can just you have to configure, and it will be synced between two sites of Frappe.
Right. Will be allowed offline. How does
Yeah,
it?
so there
So
are
you
queues.
can configure it in the settings itself. We will also share some documentation help links.
Cool. Here we go.
Cool. Um.
Okay, someone is shouting on the chat. Please respond to issue raised on pause and hospitality.
Yeah. Hi, Tawanda. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Yeah, your question was the one that I was going to select. So his question is, does the POS now have an option where a supervisor can enter password to void a transaction or change a price whilst the attendant is serving a client? And also another one that he wants to.
One at a time. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nabin, you understood that? I think I lost it.
I also lost it.
I'll just repeat myself. Does the POS have an option where a supervisor can enter the password to void a transaction or change a price whilst the attendant is serving a client?
No, I don't think that is there.
Okay, thanks, Naveen. Another one from them is that they are agreeing that POS for retail and hospitality enhancements are needed and they are happy to evaluate. Okay, thank you so much. You can share that.
So yeah, open source spirit. I mean, on that note, all the enhancements we have, maybe you can also touch this with our team. Though all features come to us for free, right? But someone has to sponsor it. So if you have a bandwidth and backing, and if you need some feature on priority and would be happy to sponsor it, do get in touch. We can do it collaboratively. It will be, I think, open available for free for rest of us. So that's how open source works. It's free for everyone, but someone has to sponsor.
Thank you, man.
No WhatsApp for now.
No LinkedIn integrations.
For Arabic language, you just need to set the language as Arabic, and I think UI and everything changes to right to left.
There is also one more question from Mohammed, where he's asking whether we can post credit entry for customers in the new POS, that screen itself.
Yeah, I think that is possible.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Naveen.
In Frappe Cloud, can we give our own repos with credentials? What does it mean? Anyone from Frappe Cloud team?
If you mean custom apps, then yes, you can actually set up any kind of custom app if you want. So it's I think live now for all Frappe Cloud users, and we have been testing it for some time now. So yeah, it works. You have to connect to GitHub though. So once you have connected signed in using GitHub on ERPNext on Frappe Cloud, you'll be able to add your apps.
Okay, then there's a request for multiple holiday lists in Leave application. For now, I think employees linked to one holiday list at a time. Maybe you can help us with the use case on Discuss Forum later on, and we'll try and understand. For now, it's not supported, I guess.
Okay. I think we are also running short of time, guys, but thank you so much for your enthusiasm. And yeah, there is also one question which I also found interesting, whether we have multi-currency transactions in the new POS.
I think multi-currency transaction should be possible. Why it should not be possible? It was there in the existing also, I think.
I guess not.
Okay, thank you, Naveen. Okay, guys. Yes.
So there's this question. All the new feature which were talked about, is there any tutorial? So now we have also maintained this system that all the new features which we merge into the product, there is documentation available for that. So if you go and check release note, for most of the features which are introduced in the system, it will directly take you to the user manual in most cases. But if there is some fixes, then it will take you to the GitHub respective PR's link. But in most cases, it will take you to the user manual. So it's very actively updated.
Thanks, Umer. And thanks everyone for joining us today. And yeah, I can see that you are very excited for the series. So yeah, we will keep updating when we will have the next set of webinars. We'll get back to you with the video and the deck by the end of this month. Yeah, thank you all very much for joining. Thank you, Umer, for the great presentation. And thank you, Shivam, Navin, for helping us get through this. Thank you so much
Thanks
for your
everyone. Take care.
response.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Take care, everyone, and stay safe. Bye.